So this is our cracked piston. You can't really see it from this camera angle, but it's right here on the top side. See that gray line right there? That's an indicator of a crack. Just putting a little twist on this here, but it's in here pretty tight. So if you take your, we already know this is a damaged piston. I would never put pliers on a good piston, but see, I turned it and it just broke it loose right there. The rest of the way, there was a little piece still holding it, still kind of holding it together, but for the most part, it was cracked all the way around. So you can see it's wet on the inside. Telltale sign that that was where it was leaking. Normally I would like to rotate the pump, turn the pump on the shaft so that I can get this piston to stick out further, but this is a gear driven machine. I want this piston to stick out like these are, and it's not connected to a battery, so I can't kick the starter over, so I'm just having to work with what I've got. Alright, so as this pulls off, you can see this gunk buildup along the back edge. Ugh. Put that into evidence. Since the pump is this far apart, we will go ahead and replace the oil seal back in there. It's a little difficult to change, so we're going to change that out today. Along with, we're just going to go ahead and change all these pistons and rebuild the entire pump, the entire wet end of the pump. So on the dry end of the pump, we will be replacing this sight glass right here. I've already removed the back cover so I could drain all of the water, the watery oil, out of the back. And I've checked that really our piston rods are they're still intact, and there's not any slack in there. If this pump had have continued to have run with water in the crankcase, what would have happened is you would have ended up with a lot of slack in these piston rods. But we have no slack in the piston rods, so really no extensive damage has been done to the pump. Just based on my initial observation here, I'm not seeing any cracks on these plungers. But guys, when you get this far into a pump and you already have damage on one cylinder, it's really not going to hurt anything for you just to go ahead and replace all of them. I mean, I know if you're on a budget and all, but when you bring it into a shop like Delta Suds, you expect the machine to run for a period of time after it leaves here. So I can't in good conscience let this machine leave my shop with an okay piston rod, Look at those beautiful, beautiful ceramic plungers. Look at them. They're gorgeous. So we can check to see that they're the right size. Here's the old one that was removed. Looks to be the exact perfect replacement. So there we go. That's kind of rough right there on that edge. Wonder what's up with that. Let me get a file and see if I can knock that off real quick. Just a little rough spot right here on the end of this rod, and I just don't want anything to contribute to cracking one of these plungers. So that's much better. These are the bolts that we need to put the pistons back on, and they're already pre-lubricated with some red Loctite, so there's some type of compound. I got to put those on. I got to take my plungers back off and put those on first. It is a kit 6, the 606106. I also have in my possession a kit 11, part number 606111, and this is the kit needed to rebuild the pump head itself. So it comes with, you know, basically everything we need to do that. Now, the question is this necessary? And there's a cost associated with this kit. And not only is there a cost associated with this kit, there's a cost associated with the labor that it takes to do it. It's not necessarily the quickest thing in the world. I mean, it doesn't take that long. And since I'm already this far into it, it really wouldn't take long at all. Whenever you go to tear a pump apart, you might as well just go through the whole thing and remove all the internals and replace all the seals and bushings and whatever that's in there. But at the same time, I hate to rebuild a pump that doesn't need it. It's a tough decision. You don't want to get back out in the field and then wish you did, you know? So I have all the parts that I need. The decision has been made to go ahead and replace the packing in the head of this pump. So I'm going to use my Pittsburgh Harbor Freight issued slide hammer, hopefully, to remove this packing. The way these slide hammers work is, as this tightens up, it flares out, and it allows it to grab on, and then you can yank the sleeve out of here. Obviously these are not the proper wrenches to be using, but they're the closest ones, and I'm not having to walk over there to the toolbox, so I'm being lazy today. Got to connect the slide hammer to it. That's what I wanted to do. So essentially what happened is that slide hammer, see, it grabs the bottom of that, and then whenever it pulls it out, you want to pay very close attention to how you pull these apart, because it will affect how you put it back together. Not necessarily affect, but it does play a role. I mean, you can always go look up the parts diagram. It'll tell you how to put it back together. So using kit 11, we're going to put this back together. So you're going to drop that in the hole. And
do we need anything at Harbor Freight?
so I drop that down there. So you might can tell that the new one has got a little bit more of a lip on this outside edge than the old one did. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to feed into place. And so I like to use one of these guys to just kind of help me get it seated. Essentially what I was doing, I know you couldn't see it, but I was turning, I would stick this beside it, and then I would turn this, push this edge in as I used my socket to push downward force. So the next piece that goes in is this little guy, and it's just going to sit right there in that groove, just like so. Now we've got to reseat this deal right here. So we're gonna just and it just pop right out like that. Super simple. We're gonna drop this in here like this. My glove's malfunctioning. Hate when that happens. It's absolutely frustrating. Alright, now we're going to pop this, hopefully a little smoother than that. There we go. Just going to pop that into place, just like so. Now we're going to pull this old O-ring out without poking myself. I usually don't have this kind of problem. I guess because I'm trying to do it on camera, I don't know. There we go. So we're just going to pull that old O-ring off. And then we're going to come back with a new O-ring. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to just sit here and roll it over. You want to stretch it. Because if you roll it, then it just wants to pop back out of place. Now we got to set that right here. I find it works a little better sometimes if you just and then there you go. That actually pulled the whole shebang out. That time I was able to bite at the right spot, and I got everything out in one fell swoop. Pretty cool. Alright, now we're done with our slide hammer, so we can put that back up. That is a lifesaver right there. Not a lifesaver. It's not going to save your life, but it's a time saver for absolute certainty. It is a time saver. Alrighty, let's do this one more time. what you don't want to do is you don't want to just put this on there with it kind of cockeyed and hit the hammer, because if you do that, I think I have one over here. Yeah, because if you do that, like if I just set this on there and hit it, what would happen is it would tear it just like that right there. So that's an educational piece for you.
So you definitely want to take the time to freeze it into the slot.
We need anything from Flint?
I don't think so. So it's taken us roughly about an hour to work on this pump. I mean, to rebuild the packing on this pump. Now, I would highly recommend that you use a torque gun, a torque wrench, and torque these to the proper specs.
Tools go in the toolbox. Throw it away. Off that forklift.
Over here. What size is it?
9. We got 2 different size boats.
Is that what's going on here?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
It's almost like that was a threaded hole.
You either gonna have a 9 or a 1/2 inch.
One or the other, huh?
One or the others. Did you get a nut on that one?
No, haven't yet.
Now, I bet you don't know which size. It's gonna be easy nut. I don't think it's this. I like it that it's up off the ground, but I hate it. It's got that U-turn.
Yep.
Try it, baby, try it.
Now that we've gone to the trouble to completely rebuild this pump with all new components on the internals, I feel like it is a necessity that we go ahead and put a good water filter in line. All right. Whew. Oh, great. That's lovely. There's water in the tank. This is gonna fill my shop up. You definitely want to make note of the arrow to ensure the water is flowing in the direction of the arrow.